My name is Radhika Bhatt. I'm the Deputy Director of the Opportunity Project, which is an innovation program that is based out of the US Census Bureau. So today's session, we're just going to be talking about the Data Curation Hub, which is a platform of ours that is specifically made to help with data curation, finding data that's relevant to specific challenges, as well as just empowering the public with federal open data. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Opportunity Project program, and then I'll also go into a live demo of the Data Curation Hub and kind of show people how you all can use it. And if anyone wants to drop questions in the chat, you're welcome to. I'll also have some time for Q&A at the end. But this is a quick 30-minute session, so I'll just dive right into talking a little bit about our program. So the Opportunity Project, for those that are familiar, maybe this is new, we are an innovation program that's based out of the US Census Bureau, and we bring together technologists, community groups, and government to prototype digital products, all that are solving public-facing challenges around the country. And the way that we do this is that we run a 12-week tech development sprint that normally takes place over the summer into the fall. And that is the program and the process that kind of allows people to work together with all these different stakeholders, utilize federal open data, and build different types of technologies that are tackling different challenges. And as you can see on the slide, we've tackled things like disaster response, youth and veterans homelessness, the opioid crisis, expanding the innovation economy. And last year, we actually ran 2 entire sprints that were focused on environmental topics. So we worked on things like improving the recycling infrastructure in the US, reducing the impacts of emissions on air quality, as well as helping with economic self-sufficiency and things like that. So also just a friendly reminder, if you could mute yourself, that would also be really helpful to make sure we're not getting any feedback. So thank you. So if anyone wants to learn a little bit more about the Opportunity Project, you can go to opportunity.census.gov. But additionally, I'll just be talking a little bit more about how things work. Let's see. Okay, cool. So as I mentioned, the way that the program works is through a 12-week tech development sprint, and there are different milestones that help to facilitate that entire process. So we start with user research, and this entire program is really centered around human-centered design skills and capabilities. So we like to make sure that all the teams start with user research to make sure that they understand the challenges, who's affected by them and how. And then they start actually exploring the data. And that is where our program supplies federal open data sets, as well as experts that can speak to that data to all the technologists and the teams that are participating. We also have 2 build demos, so an alpha demo and a beta demo, where people and the teams that participate can actually showcase what they're building and get feedback. And then all of this actually culminates in a public demo day in December. And if anyone's familiar with our program and you were able to attend Demo Week in December, this past December, we actually ended up doing 3 days of demos and had a lot of interactive events to kind of engage the public with these different types of tech tools to make sure that they were getting into the intended audiences. So at a high level, the different participants that we have involved are listed on the slide, but generally the tech teams come from different companies, universities, civic tech organizations, and they're the ones that are really driving the development of these products. And also the products that have been created are very broad ranging. Sometimes they've been interactive games, they've been AI algorithms, even mapping tools, websites. So there's a really broad range of kind of what the outcomes are. But generally, every single one of these products are using federal open data to solve these different types of challenges. We also have user advocates that are community leaders, maybe even from state and local government, that are representing the challenges on the ground. And they're really there to help provide feedback to make sure that the technologies that are built are actually solving challenges that affect people and communities around the country. We also have government at the table that are representing the different policy angles and the challenges themselves coming from a government standpoint. And they're also there to help provide the different types of data for these challenges. And then lastly, we also have product advisors that actually help with topics like product sustainability in making sure that these products are getting into the hands of users and actually making a proper impact. So that's a little bit about our program. Actually, I'll just go ahead and skip that slide. So our program really brings together lots of different types of people, but really what we're centered around is making sure that federal open data is in the hands of the public. We recognize that open data exists, but specifically federal open data can oftentimes be really difficult to understand. It can be difficult to find. So what our program really aims to do is to simplify that data discovery process and to make it easier to really just put data into the hands of technologists and people in the public and make sure that it can help them with any types of challenges they're experiencing. So through this entire process, our program has been around for about 5 years now. So we've definitely learned a lot along the way. A few of the things that we've learned is definitely that it's challenging for technologists to find the right open data that they're looking for. So whether it's you're looking to make some sort of data visualization or integrate data from an API into your existing product, we've heard from many technologists that this is a really difficult thing to do. So that's what we're trying to do through the Opportunity Project program, but also through this Data Curation Hub that we've created. Another thing that we've learned is if technologists are looking for data, they might find it, but they oftentimes have a lot of questions and need someone to speak with to kind of go into the details of how to utilize the data or even what different indicators mean. And so that's another thing that we're trying to solve for is if we can make sure that there's an expert connected to different data sets that will kind of help make sure that technologists understand how to use the data. We also recognize that there's a lot of federal open data portals out there, but what we're trying to do with ours is make sure that the data sets are actually connected to specific challenges to just make it easier to understand and even easier to understand how these data sets can be applied for different challenges. So all of that being said, we've been iterating on our program and really empowering technologists with data, but we really wanted to ask the question of how might we better empower technologists with open data and help them find what they're looking for. And so that is really what brought us to the Data Curation Hub. So that is what everyone's here to see today. So I'll just do a quick demo of that. So also, if everyone wants to see it on their own, you're welcome to go to opportunity.census.gov/data. Emma, I see you're on the line. If you could drop that into the chat too, that would be super helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks. So also that being said, let me just get out of full screen and let me go to the Data Hub. So hopefully you're also able to see this screen. So this is on the Opportunity Project site, and it's again opportunity.census.gov/data, but you can also navigate to it from resources. And from there, this is what our portal really looks like. So what we've done is that we've outlined relevant data sources that are specific to types of challenges. So we ran an entire workforce challenge, which is kind of related to workers, labor markets, businesses, entrepreneurship, credentials, jobs, apprenticeships, that sort of thing. So we have an entire module that's specifically focused on workforce, and there's also different search functions here as well. But generally, the way that we're showcasing it right now is that we have a lot of different data sets from a variety of federal agencies all listed here. And this contact button also actually takes you to a specific person that can help answer your questions. So this is not a generic info@data.gov. It's a bit more information and actually a person that can help to answer your questions. So that is something that we've curated through our process of making sure that each data set is connected to a person. So something that we've added recently are natural environment data sets, which look at things like pollution, agriculture, oceans, transportation emissions. So this actually has a lot of different data sets from USGS, from EPA, from the State Department as well, and actually from a couple different NGOs that are working in the recycling space as well. So this is, again, a lot of different data sets here that you can kind of look through. And then one thing I also want to highlight is that we, as of recently, have put up a lot of different data sets related to COVID-19 economic recovery. So this actually includes a lot of different data from the Census Bureau, including pulse surveys, which are specifically for businesses, but it also includes a few different data sets from other agencies as well, including the CDC and others. So that is kind of a pretty quick demo about this product. And one thing that I wanted to kind of showcase is that this this kind of showcases the different data that's out there. But a lot of you might be wondering, okay, but what can you actually do with it? Or even what has been done with it in the past. So I also wanted to highlight that very briefly, that we actually have run a prize challenge in the past in 2019, and we'll also be doing it again this year as well. And if you go to the prize page, you can actually kind of see some of the winners. Also, you can also see the past sprints that we've run and kind of see what products have been built. So on the sprints page, you can actually see specific to the built environment. If we go to economic self-sufficiency for low-income families, we can actually see the specific products that have come out of that exact problem statement. And there's been quite a few, but you can kind of see that specifically here. So if you're also interested in seeing, what data has been used, how has it been used, this page specifically, which is our showcase, that actually shows a lot of different outcomes. But really briefly, I also was going to kind of walk through that here. And in particular for this audience, just wanted to highlight that a few of you might have heard of data2go.nyc. I think they are also participating in a variety of ways through Open Data Week as well. So this product actually came out of an opportunity project sprint, I think back in 2016. And what this product does is that it visualizes census data in New York City to showcase the different indicators for census outreach, but also just helping people understand how census data is actually applied in the day-to-day and kind of how it affects them. So this is a really amazing platform that has been created with census data, also with Bureau of Labor Statistics data. All this data is on the Data Curation Hub. Another thing I just want to mention is that another challenge we worked on is assisting recently resettled refugees and helping them get access to vital resources like education, English language learning, jobs, and things like that. So this is actually a platform that was worked on just last year in 2020. And this was built by an organization called USA Hello. They're actually a technical nonprofit. And they were actually able to use State Department data as well as their own proprietary data to build out their existing platform that connects immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers with organizations and nonprofits that can help them get access to different resources. So I have a few other examples in here, but I also recognize I've been speaking for a while. So just want to take a second to look at the chat and see if there's any questions. And also I think I can open it up for the next 10 minutes. If anyone has any questions about the Data Hub, this work that I've been sharing, or even any of these products, I'm happy to answer any of those questions. So feel free to type in the chat or also unmute yourself, but we can take questions now if anyone has them.
Radhika, just a quick question.
Yeah.
Can the data be downloaded in Excel?
Can the data be downloaded in an Excel file? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there are some data sets like that. Let me just go back to the Data Hub. What we have tried to do is make sure that a lot of this data is machine readable, because I know that another challenge is that if everything's in an Excel file, it also kind of makes things difficult. So I think it's a mix. I think some of these data sets can be downloaded as Excel files, but some are links to APIs and more machine readable formats. So I think a mix would be my answer.
Okay, cool. That's fine. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, I got a question. Can any of this data set be, stay right there on the website, but actually be linked in through maybe an Excel or Tableau or Power BI? And so if there's any updates, that it would automatically update if I refresh my dashboard?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say the way that this platform is right now, it's not currently set up that way that any of the data sets live on this site. But I would say that one thing I'll also mention is that we are looking to iterate on this platform. So if anyone has any suggestions or wants to talk further about ideas, I think feel free to email me and we can discuss further as well. But right now, the way that this platform mainly is that it links out to other websites. So mainly, I think the biggest thing to highlight here is that the Census Bureau does not maintain all of these data sets. So for example, if something's coming from housing and urban development, we just can't maintain that. So that's why we're kind of this home for linking to other data sets, but we're not able to always be the one that's able to update the data sets or keep them up to date even. So that's kind of why it's set up this way, but open to discussing other ways that this could be improved as well.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that you act as like a data warehouse then.
Yes. Okay. And we're trying to improve the data warehouse process by linking these data sets to specific challenges. And we hope that that's helpful than some of those other bigger warehouses that are out there.
Thank you.
Hey, Radhika, this is Drew. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Hi. I think that's a great question. And one other thing that I would add just to distinguish us from a warehouse is the specific part of the data discovery or data search process that we help with is really that kind of discovery phase where, okay, I have a problem that I want to solve. I have a task that I'm trying to do. What data is even out there? That's really what our niche is with this platform, is to help people discover the right data sets for them. And so something like a data.gov or a data.census.gov is more of a warehouse in the sense that it has all the information about all the data sets and it kind of stores links to them. For us, it's really about, what we found through our research is that at least half the battle is even figuring out what data exists and what is right for the problem that you're trying to solve. So that's really where our niche is. And then we'll send people out to the warehouses to really get access to the data. And then I think part of the question was also about the data supply chain and whether things are able to kind of refresh automatically. And that ultimately is up to kind of the data host. Whichever agency is sponsoring that data, if they host their data through an API or something that does refresh automatically, that's sort of where that decision is made. And for us, it's just about getting people to the data in the first place so that they even, have the ability to use it in what they're doing.
Excellent, thank you. And the last question is there, and it might be already right there, I don't know, is because of the data and when we're looking to try to, find out something, is there like a metadata or a data library in order to describe or give a description of the fields that if we have to create, maybe take unstructured data and actually place it into a structured form? Is there, sources like that out there?
Yeah, I can take that. And Drew, if you want to add anything, feel free to. I would say that a lot of these different data sources that we're linking to, they do have more metadata embedded into those sites or those platforms that the data is hosted on. But another thing is that the data experts that we have on board to be able to speak about that can also help to answer questions like that. So I think it's, again, kind of a mix, a hybrid of an answer where some of them do have embedded metadata, but for those that don't, we have the context there to be able to assist with that question. Drew, anything to add?
That was a great answer. I would just add, I think, we really focus on, in that two sentence description that Radhika showed in the demo, we really focus on having that be the right 2 sentences for the consumer. So, often if you ask the data owner to describe their data set in 2 or 3 sentences, they will not tell you what a software or tech developer wants to know. It'll be something, general or totally different, and often it is the metadata fields or years available or lag or formats or things like that. So we really try to include that information in a distilled format in the data description. And then just like Radhika said, really point people out to the data experts, because so many of those metadata questions are like hyper specific, and even just telling someone about the metadata or data definitions isn't that helpful compared with actually connecting them with a human being. So that's what we try to do.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any other questions? Well, I see a great question that is a good one to end on. So one question was, are there opportunities to volunteer with the Data Curation Hub or the Opportunity Project? So I just dropped our Get Involved link into the chat. But one thing that I would like to flag for everyone is that, as I mentioned, we run sprints throughout the year that are engaging different stakeholders, companies, and even community organizations through this entire process. So if you're interested in joining a sprint, I think we'll likely be recruiting for those in about 2 months. So if you're interested in joining that, do feel free to fill out the Get Involved form, and we'll kind of keep you up to date with what is coming. But additionally, we have our email right here if you're interested in just shooting us a note to stay connected. But generally, I'd say the Get Involved link is the strongest opportunity to stay in touch, because we also send information there to just keep people updated with the themes that we're tackling each year, as well as different ways to get involved. So definitely fill out the form on that link, and we can kind of keep everyone up to date with what we have coming up. But there are different opportunities to work with the Opportunity Project and get engaged. So we'd love to work with you.
Thank you so much, Radhika.
Yeah, thank you. I know we have
great,
3 minutes left. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it was a great presentation.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
But thank you all for coming.